We're about to start. We're gonna do our 2-minute test. I ask that everyone silence their phones, put them on mute, so that we can make the meeting run smoothly. Thank you. Good morning again, everyone. Good morning, everyone. We're about to start our meeting. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, CEO, Chair, and board members, as well as members of the public. There are several members wishing to provide comment today. I will remind everyone that you have 3 minutes, okay? So I will be stopping you at 3 minutes. Give a courtesy to the next speaker, okay? So that we can conclude our public comments portion. With that, I will start by calling the first speaker, Ingolchenko, excuse me if I don't pronounce it correctly. This is London Terrace Tenant Association President, commenting on item number 2.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having us. My name is Inge Evchenko, President of the London Terrace Tenants Association, and a resident of Chelsea. I will likely not say anything that I have not said before. I would like to speak to the board about the NYCHA Fulton houses and the Elliott Chelsea houses, the demolition / development plan. Just some points. The plan has been cloaked in confusion and selective secrecy for a long time. For example, the survey was flawed, it was biased, it used QR code which seniors don't understand, revealed nothing, took advantage of the disadvantage, in fact. A 20-year plan. This is a long project. It'll affect an entire neighborhood and population. My husband, for example, has one lung and asthma. We live 2 blocks from there. The trucks, the traffic, we all know this is gonna happen. This will interfere with everyone's life on a 24/7 basis for 20 years. School PS 33, which is within the project, grades 1 through 6. How many generations of children will this affect in 20 years? Their learning abilities, their distractions, their health, I suspect 3 generations. I don't know if you're thinking about that, but that's a lot.
They don't care.
We need officials that listen to the voice of the people. The ones we have now are ignoring their voices. They say, I want these people to live with dignity. Now they are quiet while the elderly are being sued to get them out of where they live. Where's the dignity in that? These people know they're going to fall through the cracks. It always happens. I don't see that changing much. Where are the elected officials? What will the board do? Let's hope you do the right thing. Thank you.
I didn't follow, I'm sorry, tell me again where you live?
In Chelsea, London Terrace on 23rd Street. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 2, Loretta Humphreys. Thank you.
Ms. Humphrey,
Hey,
it's nice to see you again.
good to be seen.
Okay.
I didn't bring my girls.
I learned the truth. Good morning, everyone. Greetings.
You have a big audience, bigger audience than
I
usual.
tell you, boy, greetings, everyone. Good morning. Greetings, good morning, everyone. NYCHA board members, audience, and the members of the general public on Zoom. My name is Loretta Humphrey. I am a NYCHA FHA resident. And for those who are not familiar, those are private homes that are managed by the New York City Housing Authority. But they were given by HUD, is that correct? All right. Board members, the real estate department, the legal department, I'm here on behalf of myself and on other members of the FHA residents who may be interested in the proposal that I offer today. I am asking the real estate department and the legal department to help me and work along with me and others who want their homes. I am a founding member of an organization known as the Southeast Queens Community Land Trust. What we are offering, we are asking that for NYCHA to please turn over right now, we're asking for the unoccupied homes. We are 501c3. And this organization was put together to create a sustainable community within Southeast Queens, because what we have found is that many of our youth that go away to college and they cannot come back because they cannot afford it. So this plan is a beautiful plan. It's a beautiful plan. This plan will not only create a community, it will address food deserts, it will address businesses, it will address the seniors. The seniors are one of our most valued possessions, and we want to make sure that they live a decent and quality of life. We are looking for not only structures, we are looking for property, vacant lots, et cetera, et cetera. So, so we want to create affordable housing. And with that being said, we are looking for mortgages and rents that will be sustainable and not $2,000, not $1,200. It is just too much for people that are on pensions and Social Security. We are looking for a sustainable, as my council member said, I'll get to that, and Donovan Richards, $500 a month, $500 a month. $500 a month.
Ms. Humphries, please wrap up your comments.
Oh, all right,
You're exceeding your 3 minutes.
I'm
Thank you.
sorry. So with that being said, I'm asking that the real estate department, Michael, that he will work with us, and I'm also wanted to know about the FHA residents, the 501c3 has not been solidified, and that therefore that means that we cannot participate in participatory budgeting, we cannot get grants and funding. So I guess thank you for listening to me, and I hope NYCHA will have a listening ear and be favorable towards the FHA residents.
Thank you, Ms. Humphries.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Our next speaker is Teresa Thornton.
Yes, my name is Teresa. I was staying in my apartment because I was raised here since I was 4 years old, and I'm 62 now, so that's all I know. But all my life I've been shoved here, shoved there. I'm tired of being shoved around. So I have my say so. I would like to stay in my apartment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thornton.
Was it clear where she's from?
Chelsea,
Chelsea, okay.
415.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Rosalind Janvier from Surfside Gardens.
Good morning all. My name is Rosalind Janvier from Surfside Garden. For the last 11 and a half months, I used to come here because I had a flood in my apartment. Now I'm back. I'm talking about number 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. And for Healthy Home, there's garbage in front of my building. Whenever you guys are visiting, they remove the garbage can. There's rats, mice coming into my building, and the roofing. I got temporary replaced because I had flood in my apartment. There's water still coming into my apartment. Every other 2 weeks, water still coming. I moved back in December 3rd. Water is still coming. It's gonna be a year. And elevators constantly broken. And I'm also asking for my reimbursement. I've been waiting for a year and a half. My management office, Ms. McCray, had removed my double-sided glass mirror and my mirror from behind my bedroom door, and also my shoe racks. Now, for my double-sided sliding door mirror, it's for my physical therapy. I have a prosthetic leg, so whenever I get phantom pain, I go through a lot of pain. So the mirror helps me because it's a therapy for me. So now I've been waiting, and every time I call, nobody have any answer for me. So I need to know, when are they gonna reimburse me for my mirror and my shoe rags? Because my stuff, I'm moving December 3rd, and my stuff are still all over my apartment.
Thank you. I will follow up on these issues and we will have someone get back to you right away.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Ms. Jonge. Next speaker is Marnie Halasa, Fulton Chelsea Elliott on 9, 10, and 11.
Hey everyone, my name is Marnie Halasa. I've been an advocate for public housing in Chelsea since 2019, where I was and am a member of a group called Fight for NYCHA. In 2019, we worked with Fulton and Elliott Chelsea tenants to stop the demolition of the 2 shorter buildings. And we protested so much and we were so vocal that Mayor de Blasio was forced to give Chelsea its own working group. It was the only working group in the city. And the working group, I'm sure as you all know, found that the developer was to rehabilitate and renovate the buildings, not demolish them. And the developer actually backed away because of the public outrage. So now 6 years later, that plan is entirely changed to demolition and privatization and to not save Section 9, to which the majority of tenants are completely against. So just so people know, I've been in this fight since 2019, like for 6 years, like daily, weekly, talking to tenants, like working with advocates. And because I've seen a lot, like these tenants do not want demolition, they want to save Section 9. People like Teresa, many of the tenants, they're deeply affordable. They have deeply affordable rents, $200 and $300. They cannot pay their utilities. They cannot sign Section 8 leases. They're being forced to sign Section 8 leases and they haven't even seen the apartment. They cannot afford Section 8 leases. They're disabled seniors on a very fixed income. So that's really like akin to death. So just so NYCHA knows, you guys know NYCHA and HOU are intimidating and harassing tenants, like making harassing phone calls and knocking on their doors. There's one instance of a 90-year-old tenant who HOU came and forcibly packed her belongings in boxes when she was completely against and was sobbing. Then the police came and said that the building was sold, even adding more to her anxiety, which wasn't even true. So you need to know the stuff that's actually, on the ground that's happening. So this is my own opinion, but I feel like NYCHA is not acting in good faith. HUD has not yet given the approval for the conversion, and even on the NYCHA website, there's no date. So there's no conversion yet. So they should not be giving, they should not be giving notices. So we're asking the board to stop this illegal behavior, but I don't know how you guys are gonna stop this because you're NYCHA.
Okay, next speaker. Thank you.
Ma'am, thank you for your advocacy for NYCHA, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, but I want you to advocate.
Okay, Ms. Norma Fontanez. Whoever's speaking, as we call the speakers, we have more speakers than the 30 minutes allotted. I will close it at 30 minutes if we delay, okay?
Yes,
So let's get to the comments.
This is on her behalf, Norma Fontana.
Okay.
She's from the 436 building. They forced her to relocate. The first day that related people came to visit me, they offered me an apartment in a luxury building on 30th Street and 11th Avenue. Of course, I would like to live there. I signed the paper that they were carrying for us to sign. Most of us all signed. Then I got a letter from NYCHA telling me that I have 90 days to move. Another letter reminding that I have 60 days again. Another notification of 30 days left. All of a sudden, HOU worker appeared at my door telling me that I needed to leave the building before October 25. He brought me boxes and told me they would help me move. I packed under a lot of pressure. HOU called me a few times. If I don't accept the apartment they have for me now, then later they won't have a nice apartment or any available. Then I will have to get whatever is left, the apartments that people reject. HOU worker brought me to the office to get the keys to the new apartment, leaving about 6 movers without supervision. I was nervous and in a daze because I didn't want to leave my apartment unsupervised. In the office, I was made to sign a project-based Section 8 lease, but I never read the lease. I was told that if I want a copy of the lease that I needed to turn in the keys to the old apartment. I turned in the keys, but I still do not have a copy of the lease. I also have missing boxes for over 2 weeks. I called various times and they never returned my call. I left detailed voicemail followed by a text. Then I went to the office asking for my lease and I was told to wait. All of a sudden, it's a little confusing. Anyway, I got my boxes after 2 weeks of persistence. They ignored my request. I was no longer important after I left. I was ignored by HOU and the Director of Operations from Essence Development. Now that they got what they wanted.
Thank you. Next speaker, Salines Miranda.
That would be okay. I'm Salines Miranda, second vice president of Elliott Chelsea Houses. I, along with my other board members, are 100% against the proposed demolition of Fulton and Elliott Chelsea. This plan has not been formally accepted by the tenants. We demand that NYCHA remove related companies and Essence from our campus and cease all activities related to the proposed demolition. This has not been accepted by HUD to this date. This demolition proposal is just that. A proposal, but somehow NYCHA related and Essence have been moving ahead as if it's a legally binding contract. This whole process, you all have insisted that is resident-led, but the fact is the majority of the tenants have been consistently rejecting this demolition plan. There's been misleading information and fear tactics taking place. FEC tenants are being told they will get evicted, that have their leases terminated, taken to court, that signing the lease is required, and that the building have been bought. As a result, many have caved in and have either relocated, signed a new lease, or both, out of fear. There is constant harassment of door knocking and calling taking place daily. We are not protected by NYCHA, but instead are taking orders from related companies as if you are on their payroll. They have been allowed to establish themselves into our development and take over as if they are our new landlord. We, the tenants, have not given them that permission. Our leases are with New York City Housing Authority, not with related companies, and we are not giving that up. We refuse to sign the new leases, but they insist and are now bribing the tenants with pizza parties and pressuring the tenants with constant phone calls from NYCHA Real Estate, NYCHA Management, HOU, and Related Affordable with the attempts to get us to sign the lease. Many are signing only out of fear and believing that it's a requirement. Phase 0 tenants are misled, including the seniors. Those who willingly relocated at the beginning of the 90 days were supposed to get the better apartments, but in actuality left their former homes and relocated into smaller, less desirable ones. As a result, some were made to trash most of their furniture. Meanwhile, NYCHA held out on the nicer apartments for the tenants who were refusing to leave, even though the first-come participants were promised the nicer ones. Other tenants who refused to budge were enticed by offering 2 bedrooms with the purpose of...
Ms. Miranda, wrap up your comments, please. You've gone in your 3 minutes.
Okay, of allowing relatives to live there as caretakers, even though these relatives never lived with them before and was never their caretakers. What type of accommodation and exceptions are being made?
Ms. Miranda?
Yes, I know. I said enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's more to say.
Thank you. Next speaker, excuse me. If we don't have order in the room, we can't get through the public comments, and I'll shut it down. Okay? Thank you. Layla Law Gisico, thank you.
Good morning, Chair and members of the board and members of the public. My name is Layla Logizico. I am a duly elected district leader representing Chelsea in Manhattan and a community organizer. I would like to put on the record several specific facts concerning Chelsea Addition and Fulton and Elliott Chelsea developments. Specifically at Chelsea Addition, I wanted to bring to the attention of the board that a senior tenant reported that staff from HOU called the police on her during an interaction related to her tenancy. This was intimidating and incredibly traumatizing for the individual, and I would like this noted in the record. Furthermore, multiple tenants at Chelsea Addition and neighboring developments have reported what they experience as harassment and retaliation. You've heard some examples already, including feeling pressured or intimidated when asked questions or request information. In one instance, a tenant who lost her building key was denied a new one unless she agreed to sign a Section 8 lease immediately. In addition, I want to address current litigation. 17 tenants from the Chelsea developments are currently being sued by NYCHA in State Supreme Court rather than Housing Court. In these cases, NYCHA is seeking money damages against the tenants. Because these cases are filed in State Supreme and not Housing Courts, the tenants do not have access to the city's right to counsel. Given these facts, I respectfully request that the board reviews and addresses the reports of incidents at Chelsea Addition and Fulton in which HOU called the police. I'm also respectfully asking that NYCHA examines the use of the State Supreme Court for actions against tenants, particularly where money damages are sought. And finally, consider discontinuing litigation in State Supreme Court against tenants. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, Patricia Humphrey.
Good morning. Good morning, board and public.
Good morning.
I'm Patricia Humphrey here on behalf of my mother, Inez Perkins, who is 88 years old, residing in Chelsea Addition. As what was said earlier, she's, trying to be forced out of her apartment, constantly getting letters, getting knocks on the door at night. My mother lives alone. I only come to see her maybe once or twice a week. And my thing is, she's been there over 20 years. And now you're trying to move her out of her apartment. And she has multiple illnesses. And I think this is very unfair. In addition to that, I just want to say one thing. As long as we have tenants in that building, they are still to get services. Am I correct? I believe I am. They don't took away the intercom. They don't took away the intercom. They took away. They're not cleaning the building like they should. And there was one more thing I had on my mind.
Excuse me.
Okay.
We have a speaker. Okay, thank you.
There's one more thing that I can't think of it right now.
Thank
But please look into this. This is not fair, not to senior citizens.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Humphrey. Doris Rufin. Senior Addition.
Good morning, everybody. I'm gonna try to make this as brief as possible. First of all, I'd like to say, please stop the demolition for the senior building.
Excuse me. We will have people removed from the room if we cannot get through the public comment portion. Thank you.
Second of all, I would like to say that I'm 66 years old. I'll be 67 next month. And I have various issues. I have multiple myeloma cancer. I have dialysis 3 days a week. I also, with all of this going on, my stomach got so bad, so tied up that I now wear a colostomy bag because of all of this harassment. People coming, knocking on my doors all times of morning, 7:30 in the morning, 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night. Even yesterday afternoon, after I finished my dialysis, someone from HOU came to talk to me about when am I gonna sign because the building is gonna be knocked down. They have a lot of issues, and I have a lot of issues, but their issue is harassment. They need to stop harassing me. They telling me that the building is slated to come down next month. They sent me to an apartment to look at, and me and my nephew, who is my power of attorney, we went to go look at it. And we went, and there was floods in both of the bedrooms, and water inside the electricity box. You want me to move into that? I can't even walk with my walker in that apartment. That means I'll be forced to walk with a cane. The chances of me falling down is very great, and I have a lot of issues. I can't take that chance. So my nephew said, whatever you want to do, we're behind you. And my sister says the same thing. She comes every Sunday to see me and bring me
Ms.
food.
Ruffin, I understand, but I need for you to wrap up your comments so that you can afford others to comment as well. Okay?
Yes,
Thank you very
I'd
much.
just like to say, I want House to look into this for me and all the other seniors that live in Chelsea Addition.
Thank you, Ms. Ruffin. Next speaker, Luana Green.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Luana Green and I'm a resident of Chelsea. I've been a resident of Chelsea since 1970. I'll probably cry, but I'll try not to. What's happening in Chelsea is really a travesty. It's really sad to get calls from people crying in the middle of the night because somebody's harassing them. To see elders with their doors locked, that if there's an emergency or they need some food or some help from an aide, that nobody can get in their building. It's a travesty to see a community that I have lived in since 1970 because the surrounding area has changed to luxury housing, that now they see this real estate as prime real estate. It's a shame to see that our electeds have sold us out. It's a shame to talk about affordable housing, which is a joke and a word that should be erased from the dictionary because these people have affordable housing. I lived in housing in Elliott, Chelsea for 40 years. I lived there. I know what that community is like. I know what the people are like. It's a community. They are people. They're being treated like dogs. They're being harassed. They're being intimidated. People have died. People have fallen. People have gone to the hospital. People have mental issues. This is not really what we're supposed to be doing. Where's the humanity? Where's the humane actions? It's not fair. They have a home. It is affordable. They deserve to live the way they live and to have reasonable and clean housing. That's all they want. They want to be left alone and have housing. And it's not fair. I lived there. I know what it's like. I know what it was and I know what it is now. And what it is has the whole world, the society has disinvested from helping each other. What are we doing in humanity? How are we treating each other? How can we treat our seniors like this? The most vulnerable you pick on first? That's really sad. Come on. What are we doing? Who are we going to answer to at the end of these days? When you get old, do you want to be treated like a dog? It's not fair. It's just not fair. I know it's hard to see. It's real estate. It's money. It's our elected. It's so sad. And I thank you so much.
Thank you.
Please stop. The harassment like the mafia is incredible. Thank you so much for allowing me to testify.
Lorraine Robert?
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Lorraine Roberts, and this is a mess, I'll tell you that right now. This thing started out with Elliott Chelsea and Fulton needing renovation. First, it was supposed to be renovation from inside the apartment to the outside. Now it's gone from that to private people taking it over, knocking the buildings down, having debris and asbestos and everything flying all over the place. That doesn't make sense to us. It really doesn't. You know? I mean, what happened here at the World Trade? You understand? People are still getting cancer from all the debris and asbestos and lead and whatnot flying through the air. That's the same thing that's going to happen in Elliott Chelsea campus for years to come. So I've lived in Elliott Chelsea for 35 years. I'm 80 years old now. I lived in Weldon Johnson for 30 years, so that makes 65 years I've been in housing, okay? I didn't have any problem, and people similar to me, we didn't have any problem with paying our rent. Now they're going to put us on section, project-based section 8, is it? Okay. For 10 years, I hear. What's going to happen after 10 years? And you're talking about people who have minimum income. And then they say, well, they'll give us a section, a housing choice voucher, section 8. Now, there's a long list with that. So that means you've outlived your project-based voucher.
Ms.
So now,
Roberts?
excuse me?
Ms. Roberts, start wrapping up your comments.
Already?
Yep.
Okay.
3 minutes goes quickly, so please wrap it
Well,
up.
anyway, please go back to the drawing table and revamp this and do it differently. That's all I ask.
Thank you.
This is only gonna profit.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Profit the profiteers.
Jamie
That's
Rao.
the only
Next speaker, Jamie Rao. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm the tenant in Chelsea Public Housing. And we ask that Section 9 be retained, as Section 8 fails to protect the rights of the elderly and common people. Manhattan belongs to both the rich and the common people. The Chelsea addition only need renovation. Demolition is not necessary. As a residents in Chelsea, we see Manhattan are already extremely congested. The streets and the city infrastructure are not suited to skyscrapers. Streets on both sides of Hudson Yard are perpetually shrouded in darkness, with howling winds. Rezoning will increase population density and lower the quality of life, not improve it. Other boroughs of New York City need development more. That's my opinion. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, Marnie Halasa.
She already went.
She signed in twice. All right, thank you very much. That concludes our public comments portion, and we may proceed with the regular calendar. I'd like to start. I don't see where you signed. I don't have a slip for you. What's your name? What is your name? Not here. Yeah, let him speak. Come up, yes, come on.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Good morning, respectfully to everyone. My name is Thomas Johnson. I'm happy to be able to talk. Language is universal. Yes is yes, no is no is any language. I live in the Chelsea addition. I'm 72 years old. I'm an old teenager. I have multiple health issues, compromised immune system. I live in the Chelsea addition, and right now, what's going on with the move that's supposed to be anticipated of the seniors building being targeted first. I'm blind, I see, I'm deaf, I hear, I'm neither. I say that just hypothetically. So much deception is going on, and language is universal. Yes is yes, no is no. And I need to say that with consciousness. I understand that people's apostrophe S, they have to do of what they're appointed to do as far as gainful employment. But for me, even with empathy, it's like, it's not what you know, it's who you know sometimes. To me, to these people that do these, oh God, you don't have to be religious, these ungodly things, and they have no pain, no pain to their shame on how they go about doing things. The harassment, the deception, the intimidation is like, do as I say, not as I do. And it's just so obvious. And I just want to say, no matter where the powers may be and who you know, sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know sometimes, the karma. There's powers greater than yourself. And I just want to say that because even with me, I had a court case with NYCHA in the past for cluttering. That situation is cured. Now, all of a sudden, I get a call, and when it placed me to the Fulton, I agreed to go. I agreed to it. But then a lawyer, after 7 p.m. in the evening, they're calling me and they say, "Oh, but your case has been dropped, but you're still technically, you're terminated," and that was like, that's a double tongue that you're talking. The stream is going up and down, and I'm in the whirlpool and I'm being funneled down.
Mr. Johnson,
Thank
please
you.
wrap up your comments.
Thank you so kindly.
Thank you so much.
It's just all this deception and the lies. Do these people not have a conscience? How do they sleep with themselves of what they're doing? Thank you kindly.
Thank you, Mr.
for allowing
Johnson.
me to share. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair, that concludes our public comments portion, and we may proceed with the regular calendar. We will start with approving the minutes, the adoption of the minutes of the regular meeting held on Wednesday, October 29th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
All in favor? Aye. None opposed? Thank you. I would also like to just recognize that one member, Belinfante, is not present here today. All other members are. Thank you. We may now proceed with comments. Chair, would you like to say anything?
Just a quick word, Lisa's got plenty to talk about today, and we've got a full meeting as well, and had plenty to hear from the public. Is this the last board meeting of the year? We have one more board meeting this year. And it seems like we had one very recently.
Yes.
We're on a fast schedule.
It's because of Thanksgiving.
Because of Thanksgiving, apparently. So the last board meeting, I think, was right before the election, as I recall. And I made a quick comment at that board meeting about all of the importance of voting and encouraging everybody who was watching in the room to make sure they vote. And I said something about the ballot initiatives that were on the ballot for the voters. It was an interesting day in general on Tuesday, 2 weeks ago. But one of the things that gave me great hope for the city, is that the 4 ballot questions, there were 6 ballot questions, the 4 that had to do with affordable housing all passed overwhelmingly. Almost all of them got about 60, just shy of 60% approval in the city. And interestingly, the first and 6th, which had nothing to do with housing, lost. So clearly the voters a couple of things spoke to me about that day. First of all, the voters are fully able to read and understand what's on the ballot when they flip it over, and these are not simple issues. So they decided 1 and 6 no, 2 through 5 yes. That shows a thinking public, which is exactly what everybody hopes you have. Second, there were active campaigns around those 2 through 5. And look, nobody's perfect, but I will say that the campaign against 2 through 5, unusually because all the ballot questions were right there for everybody to read and understand the plain language, there was some significant amount of misinformation out there about what they said and what they meant. And again, the voters were able to cut through the noise and understand what was really going on and cast their votes, in my view, the right way, but certainly one way. The third thing, it has to do directly with NYCHA. The word NYCHA never appeared in any of the ballot questions, none of the reports. We did have, I think somebody testified in front of the Charter Review Commission from NYCHA, but in general, it was these are not seen as NYCHA relevant, NYCHA related issues. And in fact, that's the farthest thing from the truth. One of the issues that NYCHA has that we don't talk about it that often is a waiting list. We have a very, very long waiting list of people trying to get into NYCHA housing, 250,000 or so people when last I checked, which is closing in on half of the people that are in NYCHA currently. Part of the reason we can't get folks into NYCHA is because we can't give people the option to move out of NYCHA and find other forms of housing when that's what they want to do. Everybody has their own, people want to move to a different place. They want housing they think is better suited for them, whatever it is, try something different. In a city with about 1% vacancy rate, which effectively is zero, and effectively zero for affordable and deeply affordable housing, there is no housing available, no rental housing available for anybody, which means that nobody from NYCHA really can move out, which just means nobody can move in. If you think about the 250,000 folks who have said that they would want to be on the waiting list for NYCHA housing, that means that they view whatever they're living in currently as not as good as what they would get in NYCHA. So who knows where they are, living with family, living in housing that's too small or too expensive, or in many cases on the street or in shelters. NYCHA is supposed to be a public resource for those folks. It's supposed to be a place for people like that to move into something that's safe and affordable and run and owned by the city. So when you've got a situation like that where nobody can get in and nobody can get out, something is wrong. And the something that's wrong here is the lack of new housing being built every year in New York City. So those 4 questions were designed directly to fix that problem. They will. They've proven that way. They're proving remedies that have worked in other cities and other states. We've now got it here in New York City, which is great. And I think ultimately it's going to be a terrific thing for the people of NYCHA and the people who want to come live in NYCHA. So I thank everybody who took the time to understand what was going on and voted for them. If you didn't vote for them, welcome to democracy, I guess. But it's imperfect except for all the other systems. And that's all I've got today. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair. Madam CEO. Excuse me.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you all for joining us today for our November board meeting. Before we move into the agenda items for today, I want to note that in just a few weeks, on December 3rd, we'll be marking the 90th anniversary of NYCHA's First Houses. First Houses became the first NYCHA development on that day, December 3rd, 1935, and I look forward to celebrating with the NYCHA community and the residents who have called NYCHA home over the years. I am very grateful to be a part of that 90-year NYCHA history with all of you. We have several important items on the agenda this morning, including resolutions related to NYCHA's operating and capital budget, which will be presented by our Chief Financial Officer, Anika Lescott-Martinez. The budget is a foundational element of the work ahead of us, ensuring that we have a responsible and transparent financial framework to support our operations, capital needs, and long-term planning. I want to extend my gratitude to all the teams across the agency whose diligence, collaboration, and commitment made this possible. Thank you in particular to Anika and her team in the Department of Finance for their leadership in delivering a balanced budget to the board today. A key item before the board today is also a vote on advancing Section 18 dispositions for Nostrand Houses and Bronx River Addition, NYCHA's first 2 public housing preservation trust sites. This is a significant step in the conversion process and an essential milestone on the path towards establishing our inaugural trust properties. We are pleased to share that we have received formal support from the Mayor's Office for moving these Section 18 actions forward. Their support underscores the importance of this moment for the agency and for the residents of these developments, whose homes will benefit from a comprehensive investment and long-term stability the trust will provide. Thank you again for your continued engagement as we advance these important initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam CEO. We can now proceed to the calendar. Item number 1. Oh, I'm sorry, Anika, I'm sorry.
Okay, item number 1, we will get to the presentation with the 2 resolutions. We'll just take it out of order. Usually we do the presentation first, but it's related to the items. Thank you.
Good morning, board members. My name is Andrew Corbel, Operations Administrator for the Waste Management Department. I am presenting item number 1 today. Item number 1 is requesting authorization to award a requirement contract for bulk garbage carting services at various developments in Manhattan North to Century Waste Service LLC. The contract has a not to exceed amount of $5,695,259.25. The total projected labor hours are 39,562, and the Section 3 labor hours are 9,891. There is a negative 36.66% variance between Century Waste bid of $5,695,259.25 and the authority's cost estimate of $8,991,777.50, which is attributed to Century Waste not providing a premium rate for Saturday service, which was below the authority's cost estimate. Additionally, Century Waste price specification for haul, logistics, equipment, and materials were reviewed and accepted by the Waste Management Department. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you very much.
Item number 2, Carolina.
Good morning, board members. My name is Karolina Paruk-Kozłowski. I am the Director for Healthy Homes, the Hazard Control Department, and I am presenting on item number 2 today. Item 2 is requesting authorization to award a citywide contract for lead abatement program management services to Leader Engineers. This contract has not to exceed amount of $25 million. The total projected labor hours are 218,000 and 61,000 Section 3 labor hours. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Carolina.
Thank you.
Oliver.
Thank you. Good morning, board members, colleagues. I'll be presenting items 3 and 4. Item 3 seeks authorization to award a contract to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, Bagiana General Contracting, Construction, Inc., for roofing replacement and rooftop structure renovations at Throgs Neck Houses in the amount of $36,772,742. Scope of work includes, but is not limited to, the removal and replacement of the existing roofing system and related work, including asbestos and lead abatement. Contract term duration is for 2 years, and the projected Section 3 labor hours are 20,000, which represents 25% of the overall. A vendor name check requested on July 15th of this year found no issue to preclude award.
Thank you.
Item 4 seeks authorization for a contract capacity increase in the amount of $25 million to TR Pipe. The letter of award was issued for a 3-year term, which commenced June 18th of this year and is continuing through June 17th of 2028 for an amount of $25 million. The scope of work includes, but is not limited to, the excavation and trench construction between buildings, installation of new underground steam and condensate piping, abandoning in place the existing distribution piping, provision of new underground electrical conduit systems, site protection, and asbestos abatement. Currently, there are no other active IDIQ contracts available to complete the replacement of underground stream and condensate line projects. This IDIQ contract was identified as the best to address these needs. There's been one prior contract capacity increase for a total of $12,500,000. The dedicated Section 3 hours will be 42,725, which represents 25% of the overall. A vendor name check is not required.
Thank you, Oliver.
Thanks, Oliver. Good morning, colleagues, CEO, and the board members. My name is Shiva Patel. I'm the Vice President for Program Management at the ANCM, and I will be presenting item 5 through 8 for your consideration. We are seeking authorization to reject 4 bids for elevator rehabilitation, maintenance, and service at various developments. The scope of work includes but was not limited to updating system controls, equipments in order to provide more reliable service to the residents. All rejections were based on either one of 4 issues which ultimately deemed vendors not responsive for each unique RFQ. This reason includes failure to upload Section 3 and MWB utilization document in e-comply, failure to submit New York City's trade license, Oliver Agency Director, Oliver Health or Master Electrician and General Contractor, failure to submit New York State Department of Labor registration certificate, failure to submit the required sign of letter of assent. Therefore, ANCM is requesting authorization to reject all bids. This contract will be rebid to ensure compliance with all the contractual and regulatory requirements.
But we got bids. We did get bidders.
Yeah, but
They were all for one reason or another unresponsive.
Right, and we have a CACMO's office had an agreement with BCTC and Local 1. So we're gonna be out of PLA for the elevators, we're gonna have more competition.
Okay. So we're gonna appeal.
Right, so the agreement.
We
We'll
removed the PLA.
PLA for them.
And local ones agreed. Good enough.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Item number 9, James.
Good morning all, my name is James Hall and I'm a senior project manager on the transactions team in the real estate development department. I'm here to present item number 9. We are seeking board approval to submit RAD applications and financing plans as well as Section 18 applications related to the conversion of 2 developments, Bronx River Addition and Nostrand Houses. Bronx River Addition consists of 226 units in the Bronx. Nostrand Houses consists of 1,148 units in Brooklyn. Additional details about the projects will be presented in more detail to the board closer to the date of each conversion. In June 2022, the New York State Legislature passed a bill to establish the New York City Public Housing Preservation Trust, a public benefit corporation that will enable the conversion of NYCHA developments from public housing to project-based Section 8. Through the trust legislation, NYCHA can convert up to 25,000 residential units from public housing to project-based Section 8 housing. The trust model will deliver comprehensive repairs for residents, place the properties on a more stable financial footing, and improve day-to-day operations and social services delivery. NYCHA will enter into a long-term ground lease with the Public Housing Preservation Trust, which will allow the trust to raise funds to complete much-needed capital work and repairs for residents while preserving residents' rights. For the project sites, NYCHA Property Management will remain the property manager. NYCHA's Comprehensive Modernization Department will have oversight over the design builder and the rehab work, and the trust will serve in the developer role for the conversion. Similar to PAC projects, NYCHA's Real Estate Development Department will manage pre-development processes, government approvals, and provide asset management oversight post-closing to ensure a successful conversion. Additional details about the trust are in the board materials. The project sites will be converted from Section 9 to project-based Section 8 in accordance with 2 conversion methods promulgated by HUD, RAD, and Section 18. NYCHA will now submit a series of applications to HUD. First, HUD requires the submission of RAD applications for the project sites. Following review and selection of the RAD applications, HUD will issue a commitment to enter into a housing assistance payment contract. HUD will then invite NYCHA to submit a RAD financing plan that provides detailed information about the project's financing, resident outreach, and scope of work. The Real Estate Development Department will return to the board prior to the conversion to provide additional details about each of the project sites, including a summary of financing, resident engagement, and Section 3 hiring. Thank you for your time, and please let me know if you have any questions.
That's great, thank you, it's great progress.
Thank you, James. We will now have CFO Anika Leviscott Martinez present her report in support of resolutions item number 10 and 11.
Good morning, Chair Rubin, CEO Bova Hyatt, board members, members of the public. I'm here to present items 10 and 11 for board approval. These items request your authorization to approve the 5-year operating and capital plans for calendar year 2026 through 2030. So we'll start by going over our 2025 year-end reforecast. So we came to you about this time last year to present our budget. At the time, we adopted a balanced budget, and we're really pleased to report that we anticipate that we will remain on balance at year-end. We did have a number of additional sources of funding, around $96 million from our various real estate transactions, higher proration on a federal operating subsidy, as well as city funds. In true NYCHA fashion, we also put that money to great use. In the same time frame, we had to pay additional funding for overtime, but I will note that while overtime is greater than we budgeted, it still represents a $40 million decrease from where we were last year. So this is a result of significant overtime control measures that have been put in place by the COO and her team. Our fringe is also estimated to exceed the budget due to rising pension and health insurance costs for our workers. And there's also a rise in our utility expenditures, particularly related to natural gas, as we have to re-procure some contracts. Next slide. So rent arrears, a topic that we've discussed many times since the start of the COVID pandemic. So since 2020, NYCHA received around $300 million from 3 critical rental arrears programs. The Emergency Rental Assistance Program, also known as ERAP, the New York State COVID Rental Assistance Program, and the Federal Home Art Program. With the exception of the Federal Home Art Program, they are all substantially complete. We have around $10 to $20 million left on the Federal Home Art Program to apply. In 2024 and early 2025, the arrears were largely mitigated by the impact of the revenues we received from these programs. And since the end of our largest program, ERAP, our rental arrears have rebounded to $443 million as of the end of September 30th. So that means around 66,000 households, or 45% of all NYCHA households, owe some level of arrears to date. Next slide. So we wanted to also look at this on an adjusted monthly rent collection. We think that's a really good proxy to show how people are behaving month over month. So over the last 12 months, we charged about $1 billion in monthly rent, and we collected $902 million if you exclude any revenue from our rent assistance programs, and if you also don't look at the arrears. So that adjusted rate is around 86%. If we were a private landlord, that rate would be sort of in the high 90s, 95% or greater. Of course, there are very different circumstances in NYCHA housing, but that's certainly a goal. If we're not gonna think about the arrears, we really do have to get as close to 100% of the new charges as we can. Next slide. So the 5-year proposed operating plan. So the gap between our operating expenses and our revenues continue to widen. It costs us more and more every year to comply with the HUD agreement and maintain our aging buildings and infrastructure. In addition, it costs us more and more every year for things like supplies, utilities, staffing, etc. And so even as we convert units out of our public housing portfolio, we still realize that we have to make adjustments on our expenses to make sure that we can pass balanced budgets year over year. So to mitigate an operating deficit in 2026, we've taken the following cost-cutting measures to constrain our operating expenses. First and foremost, we maintain consistent property funding So we wanted to ensure that our property managers and their staff have what they need to be able to maintain the conditions at the properties day to day. So that means stable funding from contracts, equipment and supplies, and where we could, we also added additional funding to kind of keep pace in areas where we noticed property managers might be spending more. We also are right-sizing the public housing headcount. So through attrition, just sort of the natural people exiting and entering the authority, we have run a 13% attrition rate in the field. So as we convert units through RAD and PATS, we also have to shrink our staff over time. We also reduced our central office departmental budgets by $100 million compared to our spending last year. And so this is a result of much collaboration across all NYCHA departments. And we continue to constrain our non-emergency overtime. We remain really impressed with the overtime control measures, and we anticipate that we continue those going forward. Next slide. Sorry, I buried the lead a little bit, but we are also proposing a balanced budget for 2026. The proposed budget estimates $858 million in tenant rent revenue, so that's an 88% collection rate on new charges. We think that that 2 percentage points increase is doable and achievable and a pretty realistic target to set as an organization. We're anticipating $1.3 billion in federal operating subsidy to support the eligible units. And as we continue our PACT and trust conversions, we expect growth in the Section 8 program with $2.6 billion for housing assistance payments and admin fees. On the uses side, you will see $2.3 billion in the Section 8 landlord payments. So as you know, Section 8 is a pass-through. We receive the money from HUD, we pay it out to the landlords on those contracts, and we receive a small administrative fee to support the staffing, the inspections, et cetera, required to administer the program. $1.9 billion in salaries and fringe for close to 12,000 staff. There have been no significant staffing increases. To date, $180 million overtime budget. Again, we're shooting high, but we do anticipate that we can implement control measures to get there. And we are, again, proposing a balanced budget at 2026 year end. Next slide. So the 5-year plan is always a little scary, but we do anticipate pretty significant deficits in the out years. HUD requires us to present a 5-year plan to our board, so we find it to be transparent to note that we do have additional cost-cutting measures that will need to happen over the course of the next couple of years so that we can balance our budget going forward. We remain confident that we can do so, and we have been able to do so for the last couple of years. Next slide. So on to the 5-year capital plan. Our 5-year capital plan includes $7.8 billion over the next 5 years. $3.6 billion of that is available in the very next fiscal year, in 2026. So for the most part,
Could I just interrupt?
Yes, please.
This is only our internal capital plan. This doesn't include PACT investments and other kinds of.
Correct. PACT investments is not included here.
That's what.
Correct. So federal capital, $4.3 billion. City capital, the city remains a very strong supporter of ours at $2.6 billion over 5 years. That is unlike any other investment that you would see in a PHA nationwide, so we remain really grateful for city support. $528 million from the state that we're working on spending down for boilers, elevators, and brickwork improvements, and another $26.5 million or so just for some smaller additional activities supported by the state. And then we have smaller grants, federal disaster recovery, some community development block grants, small competitive grant and other sources that will amount to $305 million over the 5-year horizon. Next slide. In terms of our uses, it is in the way that you would expect. $4.8 billion goes to our asset and capital management team, so that's around 62% of all the funding. And so that supports the major infrastructure projects across the authority to maintain and upgrade our building infrastructure. The next largest is NYCHA-wide, $1.7 billion or 22%. So HUD actually allows you to transfer 25% of your capital grant to the property operating budget, so not to central office, to the properties themselves. We've been doing that to make up for the rent collection. And also there's a 10% grant management fee that can support central operating costs like procurement, finance, legal, all the services required to maintain a large capital grant program like this. And there's also some small debt service payments that are also required
on older capital fund bonds that HUD issued to us back in 2005 or so. Then next, our Healthy Homes program takes about 12% or $962 million, and that will include funding for lead testing and abatement, asbestos abatement, and mold and ventilation activities. All other operations funding excluding Healthy Homes is 2% or $180 million for things like minor heating, boiler repairs, elevators, ranges, refrigerators, and fire restoration. And then we have some information technology spend also coming in about 2% to maintain various hardware and software system upgrades in the central office and the properties. Any questions?
Could we just go back 1 second? I'm sorry. No, just a couple of quick questions. On the capital budget, the 5-year capital.
Sure.
The 1 4. Yeah, no, that was it, sorry. The 4 out years are significantly lower than 26, obviously. Is that just because we haven't really projected them out? We don't know what our sources are gonna be?
So well, the first is in 2026, you have a significant amount of rollover. So at any given time for the federal capital grant, for example, you could have 3 grants open. HUD gives you a grant on an annual basis. You have 2 years to commit the grant, but you have 4 years to spend, so it does take significant time to spend down. In terms of the out years, we're anticipating that we continue the trajectory of a $731 million grant. That's about stable to where we are currently. In a different federal administration, we might project an increase, but I think stable is about as best we can do now.
And city capital is gonna depend to some extent on what we can talk to the city every year about, so.
Yes, and it also depends on sort of whether we choose to accelerate, decelerate certain projects. So we do have $200 million that the city will continue to apply to NYCHA to support HUD SDNY agreement, but we do have to come to an agreement on how to spend the money.
Okay. And, and just worth noting that the Sandy money, we're done now, so that's off the table. And the others are small.
Just about. We hope that we will spend the last $250 million in 2026. I would love to close that program.
Yeah. Okay, well, it's been great. I mean, it's been $3 billion in development.
Yes, it's a significant spend, and my understanding is they are at the tail end. So close.
Very close. Okay, well, Anika, if there's no other questions, I mean, I think you and your team deserve a ton of credit, as does the staff generally. This is I got here 2.5 years ago, and the first year, I came and sort of dropped in the middle of the budget, or the beginning of the budget process, I think, and you had just gotten back, I think. And it was a little messy. Next year was much better, and I think this year it seems like it was incredibly smooth for what it is. Understanding that you had to deal with a very large deficit that had to be cleaned up somehow. And as you said, we got lucky with some additional sources of capital that we're gonna hope to repeat, but they were there. And then everybody made tough choices and operated more efficiently and learned how to cut down on overtime, learned how to collect rent faster, which we're doing. So it's all, it's the evidence of a system where teamwork, evidence of a system working really well. Just so everybody understands, the numbers are very, very large. The fact that it's a balanced budget means that NYCHA is using every single dollar that it gets from any source. It's all going back into NYCHA. And the numbers in central office are going down, it's being put directly into the project, it really is. And that's the priority. This is gonna get harder every single year. And not only because there's less coming from lots of different sources, but because for structural reasons, we're gonna lose revenue and pick up expenses. And it's just nothing we can do about it. It's a byproduct of good work that's being done elsewhere, but it's just a fact of life. So more tough choices are gonna have to be made, and the residents will always be the priority. There is no second priority. So that's also true. And then the last thing I would say is, you mentioned this as well, the other thing that gets much more expensive, of course, is the top line here. We have $80 billion needed for capital repairs. We didn't make that number up. That's the P&A that we hire engineering firms to come in and evaluate our entire physical product, the physical plant, and they tell us what we would need if we had it all today. We could spend it all today, we would need $80 billion. We don't have it all today, we couldn't spend it all today, but that's what it is. We'll never really catch up with that, but it's our job to find ways to cut it down, which we are doing. The worst The biggest single problem besides inflation, of course, is that the buildings, the 90-year-old first houses that we're so proud of, are also really not in great shape. And that's true of virtually everything, all of the old plant. And as anybody who lives in an older building knows, the longer you live there, the more expensive it is. So that's, all of this is what NYCHA is dealing with, and the fact that we've got a finance team that can manage its way through this, with help from other partners, is really remarkable. So thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Great.
Anika? Present your two resolutions.
I mean, you want them or not?
I would like to present items 10 and 11. So item 10.
Operating.
Request authorization to approve the authority's 5-year operating budget plan for calendar year 2026 through 2030. And item 11, request authorization to approve the authority's 5-year capital budget plan for calendar years 2026 to 2030. Thank you.
Before moving to approve the items, I just want for the record that the report was previously provided to the board and will be made part of this record. That said, Chair, 11 items were presented for board approval. Do I have a motion to approve the items?
So moved, Gavin.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Okay, we can adjourn. The end time is 11:24. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I will so move.
Brandon Miller, second.
Second.
Do I have a unanimous vote? Yes? No opposition? Great. Our next meeting will be held on Wednesday, December 17th. Wishing everyone a happy